I want to thank you all for joining me today as I introduce the most revolutionary and exciting new products to date. I am sure you will find this unique, one-of-a-kind product and the story behind it as fascinating as I first did when I was introduced to it. As far back as 1929, a medical doctor in Canada discovered a way to extract the literal life essence from a 9-day-old fertilized avian egg. On exactly the 9th day, all the ingredients necessary to create a life are at the highest state. In fact, the life-giving proteins are so potent at this stage that just 2 weeks later a full-blown chicken is born. This patented, freeze-dried, proprietary process proved to be a historical, monumental success for this medical doctor's patients. Unfortunately, this breakthrough discovery died when the doctor died. Some 50 years later, it was rediscovered by Norwegian scientists. Since then, the amount of clinical studies and research has yielded nothing less than stunning results. Today, we call this product Laminine. The name comes from the word laminin, which is a substance found in each of us on a cellular level that literally holds us all together. The results that people are getting from taking Laminine are so profound that it has become a metaphor for the glue that holds us all together mentally, physically, and emotionally. Because of what the molecular structure laminin does for us with regards to our bodies, and because of the life essence in Laminine is extracted on exactly the 9th day of the fertilized avian egg, we call it Laminine. In addition to this literal life essence found in Laminine, we have also added a proprietary blend of marine and plant proteins, making Laminine one of the most effective and unique products found anywhere in the world today. I personally felt these effects within minutes of taking it, while others noticed its life-changing effects over several days and weeks. In fact, I literally spent the last 9 months getting patients, friends, families, contacts, virtually anybody and everybody taking Laminine, and the results that I have personally documented are nothing less than astounding. If you could use an overwhelming life change today, more stamina, an incredibly positive outlook on life, a new want-to affecting every area of your life, then you have to try Laminine today. After all, it's doctor recommended.
Tonight we have a story about a controversial treatment for cancer invented by a Winnipeg doctor. It's not new. In fact, Dr. John Davidson used it on hundreds of patients decades ago. What is new is that some 50 years after the doctor's death, more than half a century after his theories were dismissed as quackery, scientists are rekindling the flame of his research. With more on the legendary cancer doctor, here's CTV's medical specialist, Avis Favreau.
His name was John Ralston Davidson, a respected family doctor in Winnipeg in the early 1900s.
A great scientist as well as a great doctor.
And this is Leslie Gurney Bishop, now 88, a journalist who documented Dr. Davidson's controversial treatment for cancer.
He never claimed that it cured it, but he said it would arrest it.
Davidson spent years studying cancer, writing medical articles on his theories, which in hindsight were remarkable for his time. The doctor described cancer as a dietary deficiency, so he added generous amounts of vitamins to the patient's diet. But he also said it was critical to boost the patient's own defenses against cancer, which is why he developed what he called young tissue extract. Davidson took fertilized hen's eggs just 9 days old and produced a powdered extract, which was then injected into patients with various forms of terminal cancer. Like this boy, diagnosed with lymphatic cancer, notes show that with surgery, vitamins, and the extract, he returned to normal health. Over the years, Dr. Davidson treated hundreds of cancer patients.
They all said, the ones I interviewed, all said that it had benefited them tremendously.
Some said they were cured.
Ruth Burke's father was one of Davidson's more famous patients. Harry Leader, the Member of Parliament for Portage-la Prairie, had been diagnosed with terminal bowel cancer by the Mayo Clinic in the U.S. But under Davidson's treatment, he improved.
It was controversial scientifically, but that really didn't affect Dad. He believed in it.
But Davidson's medical colleagues thought the treatment was useless and repeatedly refused him research money.
It's as though they'd been instructed by somebody, well, just tear him up, you know, just tear him up. And they did.
Frustrated with the lack of support, Harry Leader, with his own good health as proof, took Davidson's pleas for funding straight to Ottawa in 1944, directly to Prime Minister Mackenzie King.
He never wanted any publicity from this. He simply wanted help for this man whom he felt could help humanity.
The Prime Minister refused to fund Davidson's work. The doctor died 4 years later.
He would die pretty well of a broken heart, if you know what I mean, because he had not been recognized.
His cancer treatment thought to have died with him.
But then 6 years ago, the treatment was rediscovered by a Toronto company. It hired researchers at Dalhousie University to test the theory. Could these embryonic chicken cells really be a cancer treatment? When research began, there was excitement.
Davidson's extract, in many ways, could be a cancer vaccine.
In 3 studies on mice, the compound apparently shrunk tumors.
We have to be careful about raising people's hopes falsely.
Jonathan Blay is one of the researchers looking at the revived young tissue extract.
Davidson's extract, in many ways, could be a cancer vaccine. There could be things in the extract that promote a response against the cancer.
But then suddenly, the research stopped. The then owners of the extract had financial problems. They stopped paying the researchers. Dalhousie was out some $60,000 and halted the experiments.
The university would be interested in continuing the work because the results were very promising.
But for nearly 5 years now, the capsules have simply laid on the shelf.
One could easily walk away from and say to heck with it. But would we be leaving behind something that could potentially have significant impact for large numbers of people?
But if there are no takers soon, the venture will die. A darn shame, says Dr. Bain, because we still won't have the answer. Was Dr. Davidson right?
But if Dr. Davidson's extract does show the power to combat cancer,
this could be not only one of the great human victories in overcoming disease, but it could also be one of the great human tragedies.
a tragedy because for the last 50 years, a possible cancer treatment and its pioneer were forgotten. Avis Favreau, CTV News, Toronto.
The American Health Journal, bringing you the latest information on medicine, psychology, diagnosis, treatment, and prevention. Major medical advances are made each week, and each week the American Health Journal keeps you up to date.
Hello, and welcome to this special edition of the American Health Journal. I'm your host, Roger Cooper. With more and more Americans looking for a natural path to better health, it's no wonder approximately 87% of people in the U.S. today regularly take some form of dietary supplement. We'll discover the important role amino acids and other natural elements play in our bodies. Many of these elements can be obtained through diet and natural supplementation. We'll learn how one manufacturer has created a whole food supplement with the goal of delivering these essential elements. Elements which some physicians believe are the key to improving your health. We'll also hear from actor Kevin Sorbo of Hercules fame, who shares his own story and belief in a natural way to maintain good health. It's an episode of American Health Journal you won't want to miss. Now, we turn our attention to a family of proteins called fibroblast growth factor. This important protein factor has anti-aging and healing specialists taking notice for its role in improved health. We spoke with clinical nutritionist Dr. Stephen Petrosino. He believes FGF may hold a key to unlocking healing for a range of symptoms, from joint pain and poor quality hair, skin, and nails, to poor sleep, low energy, low libido, and even depression.
Fibroblast growth factor is essentially a factor that directs and orchestrates some of the development of undifferentiated stem cells. And stem cells are what are called pluripotent cells. They essentially can become anything. A stem cell doesn't know if it's going to become part of the liver or part of the eye or part of the muscle in your arm. But at one point, there are directions that are given to that undifferentiated stem cell, and that stem cell then differentiates into that particular organ or tissue. And so fibroblast growth factor, or FGF, plays a role in the direction of those undifferentiated stem cells into becoming what they ultimately will become. One of the reasons we believe that fibroblast growth factor is beneficial in areas of damage is that when fibroblast growth factor can direct the development of stem cells to repair tissue, that helps with a repair of damage that occurs perhaps in the brain, in the heart, or other parts of body tissues. Fibroblast growth factor is present in areas of the body where there's damage, and they're involved in the healing process and also in the importance of stem cells.
Research on FGF began over 80 years ago when it was discovered to exist in a surprisingly common whole food source.
Dr. Davidson was a renowned medical doctor that practiced in Canada from the late 1920s into the 1940s. And his research was done primarily with fertilized eggs. And he actually found a process by which an extract of the white of a fertilized hen's egg was freeze-dried, and he used that extract to treat patients with cancer and was finding remarkable success. About 50 years later, other researchers in Norway found by serendipity this research and added to it, and the end result is the product we know as Laminine. There was a seminal or early study that was done on fibroblast growth factor, or FGF, that was published in the Journal of Science way back in, I believe, 1962. And that particular study showed that fibroblast growth factor concentrates in areas of the body that are have undergone damage. That study looked at areas of the brain and found that where there was damage, like a stroke, fibroblast growth factor would concentrate in the area of the damage to assist in the repair.
Welcome back to the American Health Journal. We now take a close look at a supplement called Laminine that aims to deliver a combination of amino acids and fibroblast growth factor. Physicians tell us this combination may work as an adaptogen in the body, which may assist patients suffering from a variety of ailments. We spoke with Dr. Kim Jabrowski and Bernard Schauda and others involved in the research and development of whole food supplements.
Well, Laminine is a unique product. First of all, it takes the fertilized avian egg right at the specific stage before it creates a full-blown chicken, if you will. All of the life essence, all the ingredients necessary to create life are at their highest point at a particular stage. Laminine extracts part of that in conjunction with a marine protein and a plant protein that synergistically work together to have an unbelievable effect on the body.
We've been in the business, in the supplements business, for the past 12 years. We've had some success at it. We've had hundreds of products out in the market. But as someone who is in the supplements business, we are always on the lookout or on a search for that one perfect supplement that we could, that encompasses all the health benefits, whether it's in one capsule or in one tablet. We have discovered a unique ingredient back in 2003, which was made of fertilized egg extract.
We have a product that is actually manufactured in Southern California here. It's produced by a GMP lab, Good Manufacturing Practices, which are overseen by the regulatory bodies for the quality and assurance of the product. So we have an American-made product. Laminine is a very interesting product because what it essentially is a functional food. And as we all know, nutrition is the source that we all need to live. It's the fuel that we live on. Unfortunately, in today's world, all the food that we eat, we tend to saute it and grill it and fry it, and we do all these wonderful things to our food which really delight our palate, but it doesn't always provide our body what it truly needs.
The question, what is the effective ingredient in Laminine? And the answer is that Laminine is essentially a whole food. It is an extract from a 9-day fertilized avian egg or hen's egg. The hen has been raised pretty much in organic standards, so it's a good high-quality egg. They extract on the 9th day from this fertilized egg the white of the egg. The white of the egg contains important elements, including fibroblast growth factor, as well as a range of 20 very important amino acids the essential life function to support the chick that's going to be developing in that egg. So the egg is harvested on the 9th day. These factors are at their greatest concentration. The product is freeze-dried or lyophilized, meaning it's put into a powdered form without the application of heat. And because of that, these fragile proteins are not damaged or denatured.
And it's 20 amino acids. You need 22. So they've also brought an amino acid from the green pea and also one from fish to balance out. And you have both, in that case, all the essential and non-essential amino acids. And so it's a total protein building blocks with the Laminine. And it's so important because when there's tissue damage or injury or overworkouts, the Laminine really does rebuild the tissues. I had a patient recently that was getting very sore after workouts. He began on the Laminine, and his recovery time is so much quicker.
Laminine isn't technically curing anything. What it's doing is it's getting your body back to a place to where it can help and repair itself. It's really simple. It's what's called an adaptogen.
Laminine treats the imbalances in our body. We've all heard the term homeostasis. We always want to be in balance. We don't want to work all the time, yet we don't want to sleep all the time either. There has to be a balance in nature and a balance within our bodies to achieve optimum health. And if you can get a balance there, then your body's going to be able to work at optimum levels. And in my opinion, that's what Laminine does.
Laminine fills in the potholes of your road before you hit them, as opposed to the Western medicine way of doing things, where we tend to fill in the potholes of your road after you hit them. And therefore it has a myriad of different effects on different people, aside from just raising your mood and lowering your anxiety.
What inspired me to take it was I have been depressed, clinically depressed, for many, many years. All the way back as a child, my dad said, "Son, you're just never happy. You're just never happy. No matter what I give you, a few minutes later, you're just never happy." And I have had an enormous roller coaster ride all my life. Clinically depressed. I've had a bipolar disorder and a compulsive disorder.
If you ask yourself, how can one thing help someone with low blood sugar and help at the other end of the spectrum? How can one thing help with someone who's having trouble sleeping, help you to sleep and still give you energy? How does that work, right? To ask rhetorically. Well, it's because of how Laminine is doing. It's filling in those potholes. It's raising the good stuff and it's lowering the bad stuff in terms of equalizing or getting your body back to a place, what you probably heard the term homeostasis.
I take one a day. That's it. Just one. I took two at bedtime one night when I was feeling like I wasn't going to sleep very well. And that was the only time I've ever taken two. But I get great sleep, and I'm feeling wonderful. I've got a lot of energy.
You're watching the American Health Journal, the show that brings you the latest information on prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and research from doctors throughout the United States. Watch the American Health Journal each week on this PBS station.
With more on what supplements can do for you, here's our reporter, Laura Windsor.
Homeostasis, equilibrium, achieving this balance in your body can help you sleep or give you energy, or perhaps help with aching joints, improving skin, hair, and nail quality. It can aid in maintaining concentration and focus. It can relieve depression or anxiety. Doctors report that Laminine, a whole food product, is helping patients bring about a homeostatic state, which can help relieve these symptoms.
When we look at providing nutrition to the body in the form of a whole food, we're talking about providing it in its raw source with all the nutrients that are required for the body to be able to utilize that. Now let's look at that as opposed to something like a drug as an example. A drug is a chemical. It forces the body to do something whether the body wants to or not. That's a chemical reaction. What we're doing here is we're inviting the body to a place of healing. We're inviting the body to a response by providing it the nutrients that it needs. So it's a totally different concept between forcing and inviting. That to me is the ideal for alternative health.
In America, we're dealing with stress, and a byproduct of stress is depression and anxiety. And when you have the brain chemistry that gets messed up because of this, you can treat it with drugs, chemicals, which pretty much overlay the problem. But if you can go in and help those individual cells, the neurons of the brain, to heal and recover, then you've accomplished something much more important. And I think we're seeing clinically evidence of this happening.
Many nutritional supplements are associated with beneficial effects in the folks that take them. And the list with Laminine was so extensive that I at first dismissed it because as a clinical scientist myself, I'm used to looking at nutritional supplements that have benefits in one specific area. For instance, the B vitamins having benefit in energy. And for instance, collagen products helping the joint and other products having benefits in the area of sleep, but rarely did I ever see one product with so many benefits.
Some of the longer-term benefits I've found with Laminine is increased energy and stamina. Again, we have clinicals to back this up, but I personally use it even today every time I go to the gym. It's not a wiry type energy that you might expect from caffeine or drinking coffee or anything like that. It's a strong inner core stamina. And of course, it has been proven clinically to actually increase strength.
I think that when people are feeling good health-wise, they smile, they feel better. You know, when you provide these nutrients to the body, whether we are actually helping the body create more serotonin in the brain, that happy chemical that gives us that happy, good outlook on life, you know, it's a fantastic thing. We tend to want to contribute more. We want to be more socially engaged. We want to go and contribute in our whole society more. You know, a lot of people come home from work, they lock themselves in their house, and they just don't feel good enough to go out and really interact with people. I think this product helps us just raise the health integrity of our body to a point that we feel good about what we're doing and going out and getting new things done.
I hear heartwarming stories from customers and people who are taking the product, whether it's had an effect on their parents, family, loved ones, but such heartwarming stories that I hear every day, and that's why we're in this business.
Supplements are useful as an addition to diet and exercise, which can help you have a balanced and healthier life. For the American Health Journal, I'm Laura Windsor.
And now, actor Kevin Sorbo visits with the American Health Journal. He shares his story of recovery.
My name is Kevin Sorbo, and people might know me from 2 long-running series I had. I played Hercules on TV. It was Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. I shot that from 1993 to 2000, living in New Zealand. Then I did another series called Andromeda right after that for 5 years, from 2000 to 2005. I did have a bit of a health scare between seasons 5 and 6 on Hercules, where I was supposed to come back to America to shoot a movie for Universal Studios, and the last 3 months in New Zealand I kept having these weird pains in my left shoulder. I couldn't figure out what was going on. It was going down into my arm, into my fingers, and these 3 fingers were getting more numb and more cold all the time. And I went to the gym to work out, and I couldn't even pick up 10 pounds. At the time, and I'm a little over 6'3", I weighed 235, I was in great shape. I suffered a very strong sensation in the back of my head where I got dizzy, I felt like I was falling backwards, like heavy vertigo. I just kept falling and falling, and even though I was sitting like I am now, and my vision just went absolutely crazy. I was rushed to the hospital.
Kevin suffered an aneurysm and a series of 3 strokes and spent the next 4 months in rehabilitation.
Basically went from a guy that was 38 years old and probably in better shape than most guys in their 20s to a 90-year-old man within seconds. But you know what? The doctors did save my life, but at the same time, the prognosis they gave me was after 8-9 months, this is 3 different neurologists saying, wherever you are, that's it. Whatever you're feeling, you have to live with that the rest of your life. Well, after 8-9 months, I still wasn't doing very good. And I said, there's just no way.
Kevin credits his full recovery to the encouragement of his family, healthy living, and a Herculean will. He also includes natural products containing amino acids and fibroblast growth factor into his supplement routine.
I still have repercussions from it, and a lot of years have passed since, and this happened in 1997. And it wasn't until this year, here we are, what, 15 years later, where I was introduced to Laminine. It's interesting. I call it a drug. It's not a drug. It's like a vitamin. It's like a pill. It's like a supplement. And I have found it to be rather amazing in terms of just lowering, you know, the mood swings, or feeling more alert, to feel more alive, to feel like there's positive things going on when Hollywood's such a negative business. I have certainly found my attention level spiking and my retention level spiking. As an actor, I've got to memorize a lot of lines. And I just finished 2 movies back to back, and it's important that I'm on my game. I like to be a professional while I'm on the set. Laminine is something that certainly to me has just put an extra spark in my life. And talking to the people that take it, there is a common denominator in there, but at the same time, people have different stories to tell about. Maybe it fills voids, I think. It fills a void that maybe you have. You know, maybe you have problems with your joints, and maybe this will be something that helps you with joint pain. Maybe you have problems with memory, and this will help you with memory. I mean, to me, it just seemed to, I sleep better as well. I just found it to be just an excellent reinforcement to my daily life.
Kevin speaks to us about his book, True Strength, and gives us his message to those who are on their own journey to recovery.
But I said, I have to write this book. My wife bothered me for years to write the book because she goes, you know, you got a story to tell. You survived an aneurysm exploding in your body. You survived 3 strokes, and you had basically a full recovery. I know what my limitations are now. I know that I'm not the same. Most people walking around, seeing me walking around, wouldn't know. They would think he looks normal. I know what I've gone through. I know what I've lost as an athlete, as a person. I know what things are missing in me. The book is titled True Strength for a number of reasons, but obviously the biggest reason is Hercules wasn't true strength. You know, I was an actor playing the strongest man in the world and having stunt guys making me look like I really was this tough. And the book the title really means to find the true strength within yourself. So I tell people, don't let other people set your limitations. I want this book to be an inspirational book. I want people to push past the boundaries and the chains that we put ourselves and other people put us in, and be more positive and look in the mirror and say, I'm going to get better. My wife gave me a mantra I said every day. And I'd look in the mirror and say, I'm getting better, I'm getting stronger. I'm getting better, I'm getting stronger. I would say it every day.
And that's this edition of the American Health Journal. If you have any questions about the topics or doctors that appeared on our show today, you can contact us at 1-800-303-3200. Or now, you can explore our new website, AmericanHealthJournal.com. All of our interviews with doctors with a wealth of health information can be seen there. That's AmericanHealthJournal.com. I'm Roger Cooper. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome home to Life Farm Global Network, and welcome to the best years of your life. Life Farm Global Network is proud to introduce our unique and powerful one-of-a-kind product, Laminine. Laminine is the symbol of life and renewal, and your key to perfect health. Based in Southern California, USA, Life Farm Global Network uses state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities and only the highest quality ingredients to ensure we deliver premium nutraceutical products to all of our members. Led by a team of professionals with years of experience in the industry, Life Farm Global introduced a revolutionary new approach to consumer marketing. The company has seen stellar growth since opening its doors in 2011, as our explosive compensation plan brought rapid wealth and success to many members.
I'm more excited today than I was yesterday, and that was pretty exciting.
Winston already asked us, where do you want to go on the cruise? And
Mercedes, how long did it basically take you to qualify for this?
well, it took me a little longer than one of my good friends that I signed up a little bit later. Took me 3 weeks.
And I got up after 3 days and I looked in my back office and there was money in my e-wallet and I couldn't believe it. We watched the group grow to 1,000 people in 30 days.
Well, 9 days we were able to reach a level where we qualified for the Mercedes-Benz.
A brand new Mercedes-Benz in 9 days.
That's what they tell me.
Wow.
Our flagship product, Laminine, is the result of a scientific discovery for a natural cancer treatment in Canada by Dr. John Davidson more than 80 years ago. Dr. Davidson's miraculous treatment, thought to have been lost, has now been rediscovered in Laminine. Come join us as we expand globally and start your journey of life and renewal with Laminine, your key to perfect health, and make Life Farm Global Network your partner in success and financial freedom.
I tell you, I've never seen anything like what we're here for today. I've been practicing medicine with out-of-the-box methods for a long time. I'm 70 years old and I don't feel it, and I'd like to say I don't look it. When I came across a product that allowed me personally to get sleep all night without coming and having to get up like many physicians or people do that are 70 years old, have to use the bathroom, and I've been able to go to sleep on one time. I was able to take the product after 1 week, and 3 weekends in a row I was able to sleep from 5:30 on a Saturday until noon on Sunday, and that totally sold me on the product. And then I started experiencing other things, and I then started to use that with my patients as well with great success, and so that's why I'm here today. My friend and colleague, a cardiologist in Toledo, Ohio, Dr. James Roberts, acquainted me with a test that allowed saliva tests to be done for hormones, neurotransmitters in the brain, and it keyed on serotonin and GABA, norepinephrine, and dopamine. And it's amazing, all the people, all the patients that we studied, nearly everyone, and I do mean nearly everyone, had a low serotonin level. And the other ones were off as well. And we found that just by the introduction of one product, which helps to increase the serotonin level, we were actually able to, through the sleeping and getting good rest, allow the other hormones start to fall into line, so we didn't have to do nutritional acupuncture on them, which is really a big point that I like. So what we're seeing, we can actually study this and follow this with actual hormone levels and see the difference in patients. And I've even got one gentleman who was probably one of the last remaining World War II fighters. He was a nose gunner in the B-17s, and his levels were even off, and this poor gentleman was creating great chaos in his family, which included not being able to sleep, and he had panic disorder, hypertension, and severe depression, and had tremendous problems with his bowels. And we introduced this to him, and it was amazing how he's actually changed so much that the family is no longer ready to put him on a glacier and let it drift out to sea.
Wow.
So that's a big testimony. When that came, I was just amazed, and the entire family is very grateful.
A dear friend that has Parkinson's, she has had the challenge of Parkinson's since the year 2000 and has been in assisted living, and simply taking 2 capsules in the morning, 2 capsules at night, we've seen, Kim, some dramatic changes. Historically, she would be standing up and freezing in position, which is typical of the neurodegenerative condition that she has, and in really a short period of time, which is 2 weeks, we have seen some dramatic changes. She no longer freezes when she stands up. She is able to get to the bathroom on time and make it there unassisted, using the restroom, and come back. She's actually cleaning her apartment. She's in assisted living, and the family's actually considering taking her home in a couple of weeks because she's responding so well. So it's very, very exciting what we're seeing with a number of our clients, Kim.
This is probably the most incredible product I've seen in 35 years of practice. I've never seen a single product do what this does and as cost-effective as this is for clients. I've been retired for 4 years, and when Mark called me from Nebraska to tell me about the product, and we both really respect each other in the research we do when we find out about a product, we both just knew that this was something incredible. And I referred to this as the baby boomer supplement because it takes care of everything we have as baby boomers: pain, low energy, stamina, being able to sleep, getting out of depression. These are all the typical things we start to feel as we get older. Well, probably one of the things for me is when I got colon cancer a few years ago, one of the things we understood when we tested my body is I was incredibly low in amino acids. So I have an understanding of how important amino acids are. The fact that this was amino acid based, that it had been done with a doctor in Canada that was actually working with cancer, and that it was potentiating the stem cells was a big deal. And when I put a cancer patient on it that has bone cancer in California, her pain level was at like a 9 from a 1 to 10. And I put her on 2 times a day, and in 3 days she came down to a 6. And then we increased her dosage from 3 times a day, and she has, in less than a week, she has 0 pain. I think this company is going to be one of the biggest companies we've ever seen. It's growing at a rate that I've never seen before. We've got a quality product with a quality company, and I don't think you can beat that. Just for myself personally, my pain level's gone down 96% between my hip and my knee.
Wow.
And being able to sleep, I've been on some kind of sleep aid for probably 15 to 20 years now. And I'm sleeping with just this.
Awesome. It's so great to get this information, and it's a little overwhelming at times, but it's certainly powerful. So let's bring up Rena Davis. Rena is a biochemist. She's got a lot of background and stuff we need to know about. Yep, right there is good. I was going to put you on the outside, then it'd be like the dating game, but I guess we won't do that. Dr. Norwood. Dr. Norwood is a surgeon and an ER doctor. And a good friend of mine and yours, Javier, our compliance officer. Javier, come on up. Yeah, your friend and mine. Well, the purpose here, and let me just start off by kind of defining, I think, something that's really important for all of us to recognize. And the way I talk about Laminine is really more as a responsible advocate, I would say, because I'm not a practitioner. I don't have all the initials after my name. All the letters to designate that I'm, a professional or certified to give that kind of information. And so, how do we stay out of this, this death valley where we, it's very difficult because when we have a product that's as efficacious, that does all the stuff that Laminine does, we want to start talking about what what our experience of that healing is, or how do we rephrase these things. And so, it's really about understanding that Laminine is a mechanism that increases the health integrity of the body, so that the body can be the miracle itself. And learning how to create a dialogue around that, I think, is really valuable. So one that I'd like to pose, I have a series of questions really for everyone here. And I'd like to start off actually with you, Dr. Norwood, because and I want you to talk a little bit, before we get into the responsible advocacy, which we're going to kind of weave around this conversation. You talked the other day, we were filming a PBS special, which is kind of neat. We're going to have something for people to talk about our product here in the near future, which is very exciting. But you talked about the body's ability to heal, or the healing mechanism, and what the body's capable of doing. And I think we're still we're still in awe. But maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think we were created by our Creator with tremendous healing capacities within our body. When I started out in medicine 48 years ago, the main emphasis was doing something to fix things. And of course, I was a surgeon. I would go in and try to fix things. The more I got into it, the more I realized that many times in our attempt to fix things, we were actually doing more harm than good. And now the tendency is to continue doing things to what I think is override the body's healing systems. And when we keep giving drugs, these drugs have the effect of actually dampening the healing process. And so I like to say that the healing process is kind of like letting your body take care of itself. I did some pilot training, and one of the things that we learned was when the plane is completely out of control and you're in a spin, you take your hands off all the controls. And the plane is designed to fly, and it will actually correct itself, and then you can take back the controls. But this is what we tend to do with our bodies. Instead of doing things to change our bodies, we need to let our bodies have what it needs to heal itself. And Laminine gives the body all of these components that we need to heal.
Let me further. That's awesome. So, how far can the body go? I mean, are we starting to venture into areas where we can see
limbs regrowing. I mean, how far can the human body go?
Okay. We've got some really interesting research going on now in the area that I refer to as regeneration. You have all seen Star Wars, I'm sure, and you remember how Luke Skywalker had his arm cut off, and then they had a process where they put the arm in a healing medium, and he actually grew another arm. Well, this is true actually in nature. If you cut off a salamander's arm, it will actually grow another arm. They're actually doing research now to show that the human body can actually grow parts back that were lost. Now they're actually working on fingers, but I see the future is going to be really dramatic, and it all relates to stem cells. Stem cells are key for all of this new development.
Fantastic. That's exciting. That's very exciting. Rena, from a biochemical standpoint, and I know that everyone's body chemistry is different, and one of the things that's been interesting to me in watching people's experience with Laminine is that for some people it's immediate and profound. For other people it's very gradual. For some people it might be a progressive experience. And so maybe from a biochemical standpoint you can speak to that a little bit on why, why the variance, why is it so significant?
Am I on?
You were on.
I'm on. Well, we're not bioidentical. Each of us are unique. And unfortunately, we're humans. In the world of all living life, plants and animals included, your ability to perceive is about that big. In fact, one of the most amazing things about humans is our ability to filter out things. We can live in houses with 7 cuckoo clocks, and after a few days, we don't even hear them. We sleep right through it. Our ability to be able to do this is one of our great abilities to thrive and survive. But how many of you realize that this solar system that we're living in is moving through the universe at close to the speed of sound? Are you feeling that? Are you aware of it? No. But are the plants and many of the animals around us? Yes. So part of it, I think, is perception. And part of it is what condition are we in? Some of us aren't sick. And other people have a tremendous physiological burden. So the way I explain it to my clients is imagine that you're a 1-ton truck. And if you're half sick, you're half loaded, and you hit a 30% incline, and by golly, you're going to pop out of 5th into 4th and 4th into 3rd, and every time you're going to pour on the gas to get the load over the hill. Well, you know what? It's really the same in your nutritional bank account, isn't it? When we have a greater duress from allergies or from worry or for lack of sleep or growing a new baby, that nutrition bank account not only needs to get up, but it's going to get spent faster. Laminine finally gives us a tool where we can provide that nutritional bank account all the way across the board. All the A's, all the B's, all the C's, all that, and one other really amazing factor, and that's proteins. When I went to school and understood a protein, I knew that the day was going to come where modern science and healing, as a good doctor has just shared with you, is going to turn to these things called proteins. What's a stem cell? It's a protein. What's a hormone? It's a protein. What's a neurotransmitter? It's a protein. What's an enzyme? It's a protein. How does the body communicate with every other cell in the body? Proteins. In fact, we call proteins the building blocks of life because they are the only nutrients that hold information. In fact, it's how your immune system learns. Mothers know this, right? In our bodies, when we produce a baby, in the first 3 days of mother's milk, we have what? Colostrum. And colostrum is chains of proteins that hold that baby's genetic information with illness. As far back as the chain has not been broken. Our bodies can produce proteins that teach our immune cells who the bad guy is, who the good guy is, and how to get the job done. So we've arrived at a moment in time, and I think many of you know it. Raise your hands if you do. Don't you know that feeling that we have landed on something so valuable that's never been here before? And you're being given the opportunity to share it. I probably took too much time. Don't want to give me the mic too often.
You know, that's one thing about a scientist. They can be very long-winded because there's so much to tell. There's so much to tell. So here's a question for really the three of you, and that would be...
Keep the mic, smart boy.
That would be... But we know that this has had a great effect on the physical body. It's also had a profound effect on the mental and emotional body, the mental and emotional self. So how does that work? How can it bridge these things? And Dr. Petrosino, you mentioned that it seemed unbelievable at first that it could be so broad. Mm-hmm. So how can we identify, can we understand the impact on the mental emotional self as well?
Okay, I'll try and be brief, I promise. We want to all believe that the mood we're in today and what we want to eat and if we're tired or if we can't sleep has something to do with our personality. In reality, from a scientific point of view, and we can bend this if we want to get into quantum mechanics, one of my favorite new things, but we'll leave that alone for the moment. The truth is that you are who you are, the mood you're in, you are capable or not capable because of A, neurotransmitters, and B, hormones. They make it all happen. That's the ruling class of job body. That's the emperor in all of his clothes. And when you get an imbalance in those, and we have inhibitory and excitatory neurotransmitters, and we kind of have that same game in the hormone department as well. When we get those out of balance, we can't sleep, we lose our sex drive, we feel like our appetite goes out of control, or we can't eat at all, and it's all regulated by these chemicals which are made of proteins. So to me, we live in the most stressful time, I think, of our lifetimes. I don't think there's ever been a suppression of the world as significant as it is now. I don't think we've seen so many people lose their homes, their jobs, and their lives as we are seeing today. That means that we're spending, what was that chemical he just talked to you about that regulates mood, sleep, pain, and appetite? Serotonin, at a really rapid rate. And we don't make serotonin well. And we don't make it well because there is something called nutrient competition. Even though serotonin is very present in many of our foods, its ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, and millions of hours of research has been spent in this area, is inhibited by this thing called nutrient competition. Okay, so imagine a bus. And on this bus, it's like no other bus, not even the Disneyland bus you've ever been on, and every seat is a different shape. You got squares and triangles and dodecahedrons. And you know, the low glycine molecule can fit in any of them seats. But this little tryptophan molecule can only fit in one seat. So by as early as 1982, we knew the population was already serotonin deficient. Well, we're a lot worse now. We've been through 25 years of Prozac. It's off patent. What did it do? It helped you use your serotonin more efficiently. See, to me, that was really brilliant as a marketing strategy, but it seemed to be a lot more sense if we just gave you more serotonin. But then we wouldn't make the billions, would we? No.
Dr. Norwood, do you have some comments on that, on the mental emotional side?
Well, in the rest of the world, there's a phenomenon called the mind-body connection, where they understand that the mind has tremendous control of the body. Ancient Indian medicine, ancient Chinese medicine, all of the ancient medical traditions recognize that the mind has tremendous abilities to control the body and to heal the body. In America, we have put this aside. We've gone with the emphasis on chemistry, and somehow we've lost this concept. And then on top of that, we've thrown in poor nutrition. We have processed so much of our food that it's not even real food. It's like eating cardboard. And then we've thrown that, on top of that, all the stress that we're confronted with. I mean, you can't turn on the TV without your stress level starting to go up. And you go to a movie and they blow up everything, that's just stress. And all of that affects this mind-body connection. And one of the things we have to remember is the balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. And we're living in the sympathetic. It's like we're confronting saber-toothed tigers every day. Whereas the healing process occurs when we're in the parasympathetic phase. And I think that's one of the key things that Laminine does, is help put us into that parasympathetic phase. And I could go on for a lot more.
I know you can. Well, you know, one of the things, we talked about this the other day, and that is that we are inundated with TV and sound bites, and that we've collapsed. Everyone's given the idea that we can make things happen in a 30-minute TV show. We go from, you know, we lose 100 pounds in 30 minutes. You know,
Right.
we get well over a very short period of time because of how it's projected to us in the media. So it's a journey. Is health not a journey?
It's definitely a journey.
So,
And it takes time.
yeah, it does take time. Let's shift gears here just a little bit, because I want to talk. Let's shift gears here just a little bit, because I want to talk about responsible advocacy here a little bit, because this is one of the things that keep our journey here with Life Farm safe. And Dr. Steve, you've got, you know, having been in the pharmaceutical industry, you really understand, you know, what the FDA, what we can and can't do.
Mhm.
And the reason that Javier is on stage today is because he's our compliance, he's the head of compliance, and he needs to sometimes reel it in for people when we start to say a little bit too much, or we put out an email that talks about all the wonderful things that that we just cured by recommending this to somebody else. So, you know, this curative and mitigation and treatment type of language is something that we really have to just eliminate. And so what I'd like to do is for Javier, for you just to take a moment and explain to people the role that you play in helping to, you know, I guess in one way I'd say police, you know, what's happening out there, and also understand that while we are advocates with our product out to the world, he is an advocate for all of you in making sure that you have something here over the long term.
Even though it may not seem like it, if some of you have been contacted by me. I actually had somebody in the lobby say, "You're not as mean as I thought you would be." Where did that come from, really? Actually, it's not just me. Before I go any further, my right-hand woe man, Ashley, she's been a godsend. So she's been out there helping me police the internet. And some of the, you know, we come across several different sites, blog sites, social media forums, and you, for the most part, here understand compliance, what you can and cannot say. And as you come into the business, it is your responsibility as a consultant to educate those people that come in, to let them know, look, this product is amazing, and you can basically say, look, take this product, call me in 30 days. If it doesn't work for you, I'm going to get your money back. But you won't call me in 30 days. You'll call me in 2 weeks asking me to buy more. That's how amazing this product is. And if it wasn't that amazing, we wouldn't have this many people here. But for example, some of the things that we do see, and I mean, we had one incident over the past week. We had a consultant who felt that because she was not living in the United States, that she could say whatever she wanted to, and she said whatever she wanted to. Laminine, just in case you guys don't know, according to this website, cures cancer, cures diabetes, cures.
I'll get that on record, Javier.
Cures everything. So when we contacted her, she said, I don't live in the United States. I don't need to abide by the FDA, FTC guidelines. I can say whatever I want to. And your company is going to get red flagged for it. So instead of being combative, I said, look, you need to understand it doesn't matter where you live. The company is founded and it's based here in the United States. We've got thousands of consultants in the United States who, if you don't comply, you're going to affect their paychecks and mine. And I don't know about you. I like getting paid. You guys like getting paid too, right? So we obviously made some progress with that, and eventually she came around, thank God. But that's just some of the things, you know, we have to be careful what we can and cannot say, and we've changed policy. We've made some additions to that, so it's outlined there, so you guys can know exactly what you can and cannot say.
Great. Well, you know, compliance is a continuing journey. We're trying to understand all the fine elements of that, and that's where we're going to be talking a little bit later this afternoon about compliance and understanding that we do have some things coming that are going to help us stay within those lines. And so, Dr. Petrosino, having had the experience on the other side of the equation, not trying to protect the company, the field, but just what's happening out in terms of what you see in the nutritional industry, I mean, these are lines that get crossed all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
So how do we best stay within the lines in our effort to be responsible advocates?
Okay, as I mentioned before, you always have to use the disclaimer, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, mitigate, or cure any disease. So as long as you say that, but at the same time, you cannot say Laminine cures cancer, and then this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure. So you can say that Laminine assists the body in X, Y, and Z, because the body heals itself when it's given the proper tools. So the best way to circle around that is Laminine assists the body. You don't want to say Laminine assists the body in curing cancer, but as long as you remove the word cure or treat and then a given disease from it. Now, autoimmune conditions, if you say rheumatoid arthritis, because I know folks that have had great benefit from their rheumatoid arthritis while they're on Laminine. But I can't put on the website, Laminine has been known to treat and mitigate rheumatoid arthritis, because that's a disease treatment claim. And the way that you can, if you ever want something interesting, you can go to the FDA's website, it's fda.gov, and then you can actually put the names in of different companies that sell nutritional supplements, or even network marketing companies. And you can find that there are letters, they're called FDA action letters, that go out, and they go out to principals in these companies when somebody does something that's untoward on the internet. Now, if it's not seen as an action within the company, in other words, if the FDA finds 20 websites from a given company that are all claiming the product cures cancer, then they're going to go after the company. If the FDA sees a letter from one person that says they're going to treat or cure a disease, that first letter usually goes to that individual with probably a copy to the company. So and you can actually, it's interesting reading if you're, at least for me it's interesting reading, but you can actually go on there and see these letters, and it's like they're cease and desist letters, because the FDA has power. I was associated with a company that had a pretty decent product. This was a number of years back, and I won't mention the product's name or the company, but it was a seaweed product, and it was an extract from seaweed, and it had some pretty good anti-inflammatory effects. And the president of the company actually found some research that showed that the product caused apoptosis of cancer cells in a petri dish. Now, apoptosis means that it's pre-programmed cell death, so it just caused those cancer cells to die in the petri dish. Now, that's not a human being, and that's not treating cancer. Well, this individual put on the company's website that the product causes cancer cells to pop. I called him up, and I said, you better get that off of your website. This is the company website. And first of all, apoptosis isn't popping. It's, you got it wrong there, too. But, and they were cells in a petri dish. So in other words, you're implying this drug is effective in treating cancer. And I said, you will hear from the FDA. And he said, well, we have the science to back it. Well, after a while, you couldn't get that product anymore. It was not available. And I went to the FDA's website and saw a picture of a giant earth mover that was heaping dirt on top of $2.3 million worth of the company's product. So the FDA does have a sting, and if you ignore them, they can go and they can seize all the company's product, and they can bury it in a landfill somewhere with impunity. So we don't want that to happen to our product.
Good reason to pay attention.
Yeah, so pay attention and don't make any claims.
Okay. So. Well, at the risk of getting the hook, I want to ask one last question, and just a 15-second soundbite for each one of you. And that, not possible for Steve, so I will come over and hold the mic in front of Steve. But in a 15-second soundbite, each one of you in your own specialty and as practitioners and people of science, you obviously got stirred up when you heard about Laminine or you tried Laminine. What would be a 15-second thing that you could just share with the people out here today that got your attention? Because I think a lot of people, and I'm speaking from people in the field's perspective, going, gosh, I would love to talk to my doctor. If we're going to change the world You know, we have to affect the current medical model. We have to help with that transition. I think we all are catalysts for that. So what would be a 15-second thing that Dr. Norwood would get your attention? And then let's go on down the line here.
All right, I relate to patients. And so when I first heard about Laminine, I immediately thought of some people that I thought would respond to it. And so I called them and I said, this is something I want you to try. And very dramatic, some within days, had dramatic results from the products.
What got you to be willing to try it or to look at it?
The science.
I want to know what the person said to you, the doctor, the practitioner.
The science behind it. I've seen so many of these things, and I said I want to see some studies showing double-blind, placebo-controlled studies that this product actually works, and we have them going back 10 years. And I've looked at all these, read them. Some of the studies aren't worth very much. They actually say there's no statistical significance, but that's a good study, and it actually shows that they got a negative result.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Well, I think I kind of already had the science because I'd studied serotonin for so many years with Dr. Robert L. Pollack. So, you know, what got my attention about it was the word pain. In nutraceuticals, we have not had anything effective against pain with the exception of large doses of L-tryptophan, which in high doses can be risky. And so when I saw we had a whole food amino acid supplement that was clinically proven to elevate serotonin levels, that's what piqued my interest. My son was in a near fatal car wreck 3 years ago, and so for over 3 years he's been dependent on oxycodone and then sleep medications and anxiety medications for the side effect of controlling his pain. And it's not, I mean control, it's not gone. You don't understand. It's not like he's out there swinging from tree to tree. It's still bad, but he can function. And so for me, it was about finally having a natural form of serotonin builder that could help regulate his pain and all of my other clinical clients, because it's something that we deal with on a daily basis.
Okay. 15 seconds, Steve, if you can.
You're quiet. Say first I forgot, now he forgot.
None of us have body but 15 seconds yet, so I'll stand up because I can talk faster. So anyhow, for me, and my time's already up down there, and I haven't even started yet, but for me, what I think, I didn't try it first before I was recommending it to people because I travel a lot, and my primary occupation, I'm a field-based scientist, and I cover like a multi-state area. And it was probably 3 weeks before I even had a chance to get back home to try the product that I'd ordered. But in the meantime, just like these folks here, I read the science, and for me the science was good. I said, don't tell me about the testimonials, you'll send me the science, I'll look at the science. If the science is good, that's all I need. When you have a 30-patient study that hits statistical significance, that means it's a pretty profound effect. Because sometimes in the pharmaceutical world, you need a 2, 5, 10,000 patient study to show statistical significance. When you can have stat sig at 30 patients, that gets your attention. And nutritional supplement studies are typically small. So anyhow, I read the studies, and then I started recommending it to people before I even had tried it. And people say, well, I want to try it first to see how it works. Well, for me, it's like, well, the science is there. I know the science is there. These are reputable journals. It's good data. It's going to work. So, but at any rate, 3 weeks later, I got on the product myself because I finally got home, took it. I was driving down the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and I remember prior to that, maybe a month before, I had said to my wife, Lynn, I know I'm out of time. I'm going to be very quick here. I remember saying to her, do you recall that things were sharper and clearer when you were younger, and as you get old, because I'm over 60, the things are not quite as clear? And she said, yeah, to some extent. But as I was driving down the Pennsylvania Turnpike, it was like a curtain went up, and everything got clear, and so it scared me so much I pulled over into a rest stop and examined my eyes. But that was what first happened to me. That was 3 days on the product.
That wasn't too bad. No, that was great, Steve. That was great. Great. Well, I want to thank all the doctors and the professionals here that have shared their time and energy with us. Really appreciate it, Dr. Norwood, Rena Davis, Dr. Petrosino. Thank you, Javier. I'm looking forward to this afternoon. Let me turn this back over to you, Dr. Kim.
Thanks, Dr.